Coming up on Inside Marquette Basketball, Shaka Smart's team has exceeded expectations in non-conference games. Now he gives us a preview of Big East play. Then Tyler Kolek talks about his decision to transfer to Marquette. Later, the team goes shopping with students from St. Catherine's Elementary School. Welcome to Inside Marquette Basketball, along with head coach Shaka Smart. I'm Patrick Reed. Now, Shaka, at the head of the Big East season, your team has experienced one of the toughest non-conference schedules of any power conference opponent. What's been revealed to you about this group through this stretch?
Well, the best thing, Patrick, about our non-conference schedule is it's tested us in a lot of different ways, and it's given us an opportunity to play together. Compared to, I would say, the vast majority of the country, our guys have very limited experience together. The vast majority of them have just not played on the same team, whether it's freshmen coming in here, transfers, or the three returning guys just being in drastically different roles than they'd been in before. So now we've got 11 games more of experience than we had before. We've learned a lot about our guys. I think they've learned a lot about each other, and hopefully we can continue to grow together.
Let's start with the games, and let's back it up to Wisconsin, a game in Madison. Your first time facing the Badgers in your career as a head coach. There was a lot of build up to that, but what mark did that leave on you to have that opportunity?
Well, I mean, just being here at Marquette, it's different for me in that I grew up in Madison, and I watched a lot of their games. I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan, but just being 10, 15 minutes away from there, I was constantly watching their program, and now getting a chance to coach against them was pretty neat. Because the game didn't go our way, certainly looking forward to getting a chance to play against them again, but they really did a phenomenal job of playing through their strengths. Johnny Davis is a phenomenal player. Brad Davison had a great game. And, I thought in the first half we did a great job in a lot of ways, but the second half of the game got away from us.
Most importantly, perhaps, it was the first game for this group in a hostile environment, in a true road game, and that can be a galvanizing experience as well.
Well, there's nothing like going on the road in college basketball. I would say compared to any other sport, any other level, it's one of the more challenging things to do is just go on the road. And we had back-to-back road games, so for our guys, it was a little bit of a baptism by fire from the standpoint of being in situations they've never really been in before. Really, other than Kerr, Daryl, and Greg, no one else on our team had even been in a hostile environment because if you remember, Tyler, Omax, Oso, Justin Lewis, even though they have a year of experience under their belt, it was the COVID year with no fans. So it was great, just getting a chance to see those guys respond and have to deal with a hostile environment. I thought in the Kansas State game, we took a step.
And that was a response, and it was a response especially in the second half that featured 4 ties and a couple of lead changes and then winning plays at the end.
For sure. Yeah, we talk about response being your ability to focus on the next most important thing. And I thought our guys did a really nice job of that. Tyler Kolek going 0 for 7 from the field. The fans were all over him. At one point they were chanting his girlfriend's name, which I have to kind of shift my mind to the 21st century. I'm like, how do they know his girlfriend's name? But then social media and all those things. But he did a great job of just continuing to stay locked in on being a great teammate, playing hard on the defensive end, rebounding, and then most importantly, creating offense for his teammates.
And then back home to take on UCLA, the 4th-ranked team at Fiserv Forum. Now, they had some travel issues, but were met by an enthusiastic crowd. What did your team learn from playing that caliber of opponent in terms of talent and in terms of experience?
Yeah, I think you said it, the blend of talent and experience and winning experience. When you're talking about a team that's been to the Final Four and then has the vast majority of their team back. Those guys, there's a poise you have about you when you've won that there's really no substitute for. Those guys came in here with a great deal of confidence. They hadn't played a game because of a cancellation in about a week and a half, and you could tell they were very, very focused. I think the biggest thing we take out of that game, to be honest with you, Patrick, is when you have an opportunity against a team like that on your home floor, you have to find a way to start the game better, to give the crowd a chance to get involved in the game. I thought you guys responded when we got down, never stopped fighting. We're able to, battle all the way back to cut the lead for a second to single digits, but you can't dig yourself that big of a hole.
One thing that's been really interesting about your team this season is that your bench scoring has been impressive. You've led that category in all but one game this season. Was that something you expected as you were trying to figure out rotations?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's, there's some statistics that are more important than others. The most important one is your team, your starters and your bench scoring more than the other teams. But we do have a team. We've got 11 guys that come in and contribute for us at different intervals. I don't think that we necessarily have 5 that are head and shoulders better than the other 6 guys. We got a lot of young guys that are still figuring things out. Greg had to miss our first 4 games, so it took him a little bit of time to get back acclimated. But we certainly have some guys that come off the bench that can give us a lift.
And with Greg, that was somebody who finished last year outstanding, had a great run of 4 of 5 games in double figures to close out the year. Is he starting to find his groove like we saw against UCLA?
Well, I think for Greg, he's such a unique player compared to really everyone else on our team because he's the one guy that has a ton of experience at Marquette. And really nobody else has that. So I think what you're seeing in the last couple games is he's starting to get his feet under him from the standpoint of, physically being healthy, making the adjustment culturally to the things that we expect and demand as a coaching staff, which is very, very different from coach to coach. And I think for Greg, that has been an adjustment, but I really like the fact that he's tried to focus on his teammates when he was out. He's tried to come back and understand that there are a bunch of guys that have done some good things before he was playing, and just trying to contribute to our team, and he's doing that.
From the experience of Greg, we go to a freshman like Cam Jones, who's started 4 straight. He's averaging 24 minutes in those games. How has he responded to that new level of responsibility?
Well, I think Cam knows, going back to this summer, that he's a guy that we really believe in, and we think that he's someone that can become one of the terrific guards in the Big East in time. Now, as a freshman, the challenge is consistency, for sure. And, I think with Cam and all of our freshmen, one of the things that they're learning is, you're going to have challenges on a Wednesday in a game, and even if it goes well, there's going to be challenges again on Saturday, and then you got to turn the page. So I think he's done a nice job. He's learning. He's taking a growth mindset, as are our other freshmen. He's got a really bright future. We want to build confidence in those guys, but also the humility to understand you can only go about it the right way if you want to have the right results.
Coming up, we'll look at how role players are stepping up to contribute to big wins. This has been a run, too, where we've learned a lot about Oso Ighodaro as well. Domino of the game against Jackson State, had a double-double there, had the big play to close it out defensively against Kansas State. He's been on point late. You call him Point O.
Yeah, we got good nicknames for our bigs. Point O for Oso, and then 2K for Kerr. Those guys have been good, good two-headed monster for us at that position. They really respect each other. Oso is a guy that I'm really proud of the progress he's made. When we got here in April, he was coming off a season in which he played 36 minutes, made 3 baskets. I think he was really searching for an identity as a player, and with the coaching change, just trying to figure out if this was even the right fit for him and the right place for him. I'm grateful that he gave our coaching staff a chance to work with him, help him grow, and I'm really proud of the fact that he is playing with more violence. He is playing with more assertiveness. He's becoming slowly but surely a leader on our team, and he has that in him.
Players that were known commodities here at Marquette, Justin Lewis is certainly one. How has he adjusted to not only what you've asked of him, but the attention that's being drawn his way by opponents?
I think he's doing a good job. I think in general, Justin has made terrific growth as a person. Some fans may or may not be interested in this, but the fact is, these guys' basketball growth is always going to mirror their personal growth off the court. Things like being able to be consistent with your approach every day. Things like your response when adversity hits. things like the energy that you put into others around you and what type of teammate, what type of friend, what type of son, what type of brother you are. And Justin's grown in all those areas. I'm really excited. He's 19 years old, and it's exciting where he can go as a person. And as he continues to develop in all those areas, his basketball is going to continue to develop.
When it comes to personal growth, and that's an interesting point, how much have some of the older players you've brought in, whether it's Darryl, whether it's Kerr, helped guys grow in the way that you want to see them as men?
Well, it's interesting, Patrick, in that those guys, Darryl and Kerr, are in their 5th and 6th year respectively in college basketball, but they're still new to us. And they're still new to the culture that we are trying to create, as is everyone else here, because we're in our first year. So those guys are working to be leaders, but they're also working to understand what we want and what we promote. We believe that in order to be champions, first you have to act and interact and respond like champions. You can't just all of a sudden show up one day and be the best team in the league or the best team in the country. You have to train all the habits that go into creating success on and off the court. I think Kerr and Darryl have done a very good job of focusing on their teammates, which is always the first step.
Speaking of somebody who's been there before, Wes Matthews got a chance to meet with you all. He signed a new contract with the Bucks on December the 3rd and met with the team around the time of the Wisconsin game. How was it to have him as a presence around your guys?
I'll tell you, Patrick, all the former players have been great, you know, from Wes to Jay Crowder, Travis Diener. You know, just the interest in seeing this program return to the success that those guys had. And the thing that they understand, because they were here, literally here in the weight room and on the court, putting in the work, is that there's no shortcut. It was great having Wes around our guys. First of all, so incredibly happy for him. You know, being someone that puts so much time and energy into this program, has put a lot into the Bucks organization previously, and then to return is pretty cool, and we're excited for the chance to be around him.
It's also an exciting time as well, because now you get to join the Big East coaching fraternity officially with the start of conference play here. What do you know about that group of coaches? What was your experience like dealing with them, whether it's media day or other functions?
Great guys, really good coaches. Had the chance to get to know a lot of those guys over the years. The coaching it's a pretty small, you know, fraternity, so you run into each other all the time on the recruiting trail, and I've had the chance to compete against some of those guys in previous years. I think the Big East is very, very similar from the conference that I came from, the Big 12, from the standpoint of, number one, very, very challenging venues to go play in as a visiting team. Number two, every program is really, really well coached. And number three, most importantly, every program has a lot of talent. And then I guess the fourth thing would be the double round robin, which is different than, say, the Big Ten or the ACC or the SEC, where maybe you can evade playing someone on their home floor. In these leagues, the Big East and the Big 12, you're not escaping anybody. You have to go to everyone's home floor. They have to come to you. And it makes it a really interesting dynamic.
Coming up, we'll hear from Tyler Kolek and why he transferred to Marquette to take his game to a new level.